So I've been listening to these lectures by Igor Ledachowski, lectures on hypnotism and lectures on improving your life. And I notice at the beginning of every sentence he gasps for air. It's like, it's really audible. And you even see this in many, probably even most Alexander Technique teachers. When they give a public speech, they'll kind of suck that air in at the start of every sentence to give yourself enough air to last through the, what you want to say. And it's funny because it is kind of the origin of the Alexander Technique. The actor F.M. Alexander in Australia would try to project his voice so that the whole room could hear, and it was a hall frequently filled with rowdy tin miners, and he'd be trying to perform Shakespeare and trying to project his voice. There was no PA equipment, and he would strain his voice and eventually lose his voice. So he sat himself down in a room full of mirrors, and he already had one tip, that people would hear him audibly gasping for breath. And so as he'd gasp for breath, he realized he'd also tip his head back and press his neck, and then send all this compression throughout his torso. So as he learned to let go of that over the course of about 18 months, he no longer had voice problems, and he could project his voice and speak without losing his voice, and he became a teacher. So that's kind of the origins of the Alexander Technique. So if your neck is free from tension, you never have to consciously take a breath. Neck is free from tension, you'll just automatically breathe. So I remember in yoga there was a lot of stuff about conscious breathing. Well, in Alexander Technique it's kind of the opposite. It's unconscious breathing. It's not manipulated breathing. Like the yoga that I've experienced, there's a lot of manipulated breathing. There's breath of fire and dog's breath and all sorts of manipulations of the breath. In Alexander Technique, generally speaking, you don't manipulate the breath. But it's annoying to listen to these Igor Ledachowski lectures, which I really enjoyed, but to hear him have to suck in the air at the start of every sentence. If you learn just to free your neck, thinking up through your torso, directing the head forward and up, away from your torso. If you simply allow your neck to be free, you never have to worry about taking a breath. The breath will just come in naturally. You don't have to suck it in. As long as the neck's free, your breathing problems are going to go away, generally speaking. So if your neck's free, then your torso is free, which means without tension, your lungs are going to have more room to expand. I often put my hands on a person's ribs, and with many people, perhaps most people I've worked with who have not had Alexander Technique lessons, or if they're held, if they're tense, then these lungs, this torso doesn't move, and the lungs don't have as much room to breathe. And then as I work with them, they start to slowly let go of unnecessary muscle tension. And as you let go of the unnecessary muscle tension, then the breathing will take care of itself. It all starts with the neck, just freeing the neck from unnecessary tension, and the breathing just comes on its own. I used to work in radio, and I used to have a lot of voice trouble, and I remember I'd be sucking in air, and the harder I tried to project my voice, the worse my voice problems got. And so after a few years, I finally quit working in radio. And it was very discouraging, because I thought of myself as this erudite, eloquent speaker, and a natural public speaker, and a natural for radio, and I love talk radio and news radio, and I love DJs playing music on the radio. I just love the world of radio, and yet I kind of failed out of it because of my voice problems. And it's great, more than 20 years later, almost 25 years later, to finally let them go, so that I can speak without effort, so that I can project my voice without effort, so that I'm not gasping for breath. You have to just let that go, because if the neck is free, thinking up through the torso, thinking about the width across your back. Just allow your neck to be free. Or in other words, you can say to yourself, don't tense your neck, don't compress the head back so the neck compresses, don't tip the head back, don't stiffen the neck, just allow the neck to be free. And then the breathing just takes care of its own.